If you're over 50 and you deal with lower back stiffness, hip tightness, or discomfort when walking, standing, or getting out of a chair, there's a very good chance your glutes are part of the problem. Today, I want to show you how to stretch your glutes the right way, safely, effectively, and in a way that actually helps protect your hips and lower back. This is not about forcing flexibility. This is not about aggressive stretching. This is about restoring normal movement to a muscle group that most of us have slowly shut down over the years. Why the glutes matter more than most people realize. The glutes are the largest and most powerful muscles in the body. They help control hip movement, stabilize the pelvis, and protect the lower back during everyday activities. When the glutes are working well, movement feels smooth and controlled. When they're tight, weak, or inactive, other areas start compensating, usually the lower back and knees. That's why glute problems often show up as lower back tightness, hip discomfort, knee pain, or a general feeling of instability when you move. Stretching the glutes properly can help restore balance, but only if it's done correctly. Why glutes get tight and inactive as we age. Just like the hamstrings, the glutes suffer from one main issue as we get older: too much sitting. When you sit, your hips are flexed. In that position, the glutes are lengthened but inactive. Over time, the brain stops recruiting them efficiently. This is sometimes called glute inhibition, but you don't need to remember the term, just the effect. If a muscle isn't used regularly, it doesn't fire the way it should. So instead of the glutes doing their job, the lower back steps in to help. That's where problems start. Stretching the glutes helps restore movement, but more importantly, it helps to reestablish awareness and control. The most common mistake I see is over twisting or yanking the leg into position. People grab the knee, pull it across the body, and force the stretch. That might feel intense, but intensity is not the goal, especially over 50. Aggressive twisting puts stress on the lower back, the hips, and sometimes the knees. We want controlled positioning, not force. The glute stretch should feel deep but calm, not sharp, not jammed, and not rushed. Before we start, comfort and support matter. All of the stretches I'm going to show you today can be done on the floor, on a chair, or standing. Choose the option that feels safest and most comfortable for you. There is no bonus for getting on the floor if it causes strain getting up. Stretching should make life easier, not harder. So the first one is the seated glute stretch. This one is the safest and most effective ways to stretch the glutes. Sit tall in a sturdy chair. Place both feet flat on the floor. Now take one ankle and place it gently across the opposite thigh, just above the knee. If this position feels too intense, move the ankle closer to the knee, or keep the foot slightly resting instead of fully crossed. Once you're in position, sit tall, chest up. Shoulders should be relaxed. Now we're going to hinge forward slightly from the hips. This is not a rounding of the back. You're keeping the spine long and simply leaning forward a few inches. Okay? Keep that in mind. It's going to be a very subtle movement, not huge, and you will feel the difference. Okay? You should feel the stretch deep in the glute of the crossed leg. Hold this position for 20 to 30 seconds, breathing normally, or you can take deep breaths and relax as you stretch. Then switch sides. So this is how you do it. I just gently hinged forward and I can feel the stretch right here on my glute. Not that much of a movement. Not that deep, just slightly. You don't want to be like leaning forward just to try and touch the floor or touch the ankle of the opposite leg. That's not what we're aiming for. All we want is just a slight hinge movement of the the whole upper body, just slightly. Just that slight little movement, and I feel it right here on my glute. So I'm going to hold it here for about 20 to 30 seconds, and it should feel just a little bit uncomfortable, not pain. Pain is no good. And then we release. Again, a very subtle movement, not too much. That's enough. Just to make it feel a little bit uncomfortable, and we hold it there, and then we release. Then switch sides. Don't put your foot on top of your knee. Put it right above the knee. Take a deep breath. And that's all I need right here. Oh man, I feel it. Some people like to breathe normally. I like to take deep breaths and then exhale slowly. When I exhale, that's when I feel the stretch just a little bit more. And release. And put it down. I'm going to do it sideways so you can see what it looks like. And you're going to see that there really isn't that much movement in my upper body, just a very slight movement. That's all it takes. So from here, bring your ankle just above the knee, like we said before. Then with your back straight, shoulders are relaxed. That's it. That's the movement right there. And I feel it right here on my glutes. Not pain, but I feel the stretch. And then we release. Put one foot down, bring the other back. Now, if you notice, I'm sitting at the edge of the chair. It's a lot easier for me because that helps me to keep my back straight. Okay. And I feel it again. I keep my upper body is straight. It's a hinge movement. That's all it is. But I feel it in my glute. And then release. Okay, so that's pretty much the stretch right there. Remember, you're not feeling pain. So when you stretch this muscle, as I mentioned earlier, you should feel a deep stretch in the glute, possibly in the outer hip. You should not feel pain in the knee, pinching in the hip, or strain in the lower back. If you do, ease off the stretch or adjust your position. Subtle changes make a big difference when you're stretching the glutes. If you're comfortable getting down and back up, this is another excellent option. Lie on your back with both knees bent and feet flat on the floor. Take one ankle and place it across the opposite knee, forming a figure four shape. Now gently bring the uncrossed knee toward your chest, like this. You can support it with your hands behind the thigh if needed, like I'm doing right now. The key here is control. You're not pulling hard. You're allowing the hip to open naturally. Hold this position for 20 to 30 seconds, breathing calmly or deeply, okay? Then switch sides. This version removes balance completely and allows you to relax into the stretch. So at this point, this one doesn't feel that much for me. I don't feel the stretch. So there is another option. I'm going to grab my knee and interlace my fingers. Then all I do is pretty much just tilt my head back and relax. And right here, I feel it on my glute. This one just allows you to breathe and relax, and it doesn't really take much because all you're doing once you grab your knee and you interlace your fingers, all you're doing is just relaxing and putting your head back, and you certainly do feel this stretch in your glute. All right, so after 20 to 30 seconds, come up, release, and then we switch sides. Same thing. Okay, if this works for you, grabbing behind your thigh and leaning back, that's great. Maybe that's how you want to start, okay? But for me, I need to grab my knee, interlace my fingers, and then I just tilt my head back and I can feel this stretch really, really good. And I'm going to hold it for 20 to 30 seconds. And then come up, relax, put my feet flat on the floor, and then just gently come off of it. That's the laying down glute stretch. Next, we're going to do the standing up one. So the standing glute stretch is advanced, but it is useful. The standing version is helpful once you're comfortable with the other two. So stand near a sturdy surface, a wall, counter, or chair. Place one ankle over the opposite knee. But first, bend the opposite knee, the one that you're not stretching, slightly. Not too much, but just basically bend it slightly. And then place one ankle over the opposite knee, similar to the seated version. Now, from this position, you're going to hinge slightly at the hips while keeping your chest up. Your standing leg does most of the work here. Only go as far as you can while maintaining balance and control. Hold for 20 to 30 seconds, then switch sides. If balance becomes an issue, skip this version and stick with the seated or lying down one. Again, not much movement, but I'm keeping my upper body straight and I feel it right on the glute. Then release. Again, keeping the one foot that's on the ground slightly bent. Don't lock it, just slightly bent. Bring the other knee or ankle, right above the knee. Now we're in position. Take a deep breath and hinge forward. Again, not much movement, but I feel it right on my glute. This is a really good stretch. And once you do it a couple of times on each side, you're going to see that you're going to loosen up a lot. And each time you're going to be able to go a little bit further. But again, don't go so far that you're going to feel pain. If you do feel pain, back off. And again, hold it for 20, 30 seconds, and then come off. So why glute stretching helps the lower back? This is important. When the glutes are tight or inactive, the lower back often takes over during movement. That means bending, lifting, standing, the back ends up doing the work it wasn't designed to do repeatedly. Stretching the glutes reduces that tension and allows the hips to move more freely. When the hips move better, the back doesn't have to compensate as much. This alone can reduce daily stiffness and discomfort. So how often should you stretch the glutes? For most people, once a day is enough. Twice a day if you sit a lot. Stretching after walking or light exercise works best, just like we discussed before. Stretching warm muscles is more effective and safer than stretching cold. Consistency matters more than duration. You don't need long sessions, just regular ones. But here's a reminder about stretching versus strength. Stretching restores movement. It does not build strength. Glute stretching helps prepare the muscles for activation and use, but it doesn't replace strengthening them. That's why stretching is the foundation, not the finish line. In the next phase, we'll begin introducing simple exercises that teach the glutes to work again. That's when real stability starts to return. But here are some common signs that your glutes need attention. If you notice lower back fatigue after walking, trouble climbing stairs, knees collapsing inward, or balance feeling shaky, those are often signs the glutes aren't contributing enough. Stretching is the first step to restoring normal function. Here's the tip of the day. Stretch after movement, not before. Just like with the other stretches we've covered, it's best to stretch after activity. Walking, light cardio, or even standing up and moving around warms the muscles naturally. Warm muscles stretch better and more safely. So think move first, stretch after. That approach reduces injury risk and improves results. Okay, so let's wrap it up. Let's recap. The glutes play a major role in hip stability, lower back protection, and overall movement confidence. Stretching them properly helps restore hip mobility, reduce lower back strain, and prepare the body for strength work. Use the seated or lying versions if comfort or balance is an issue. Stretch gently, consistently, and with control. Next, we'll continue building on this foundation so these stretches turn into better movement, not just temporary relief. If this was helpful, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what's coming up next. I'll see you in the next video. And remember, we're not turning back the clock. We're not slowing down the clock. And anybody who tells you that, they're probably trying to sell you something. Our goal is to make that clock tick longer. That's the key.